The massive Imperial warship darkened the skies over New York City. Its shadow stretched across the bustling metropolis like an evil omen. The vessel, nearly 3 miles long, hovered silently above the United Nations headquarters. Smaller escort ships positioned themselves around it, their weapons clearly visible. Inside the UN Emergency Council chamber, Earth's leaders sat in tense silence. The Imperial envoy, a tall humanoid with metallic gray skin and cold purple eyes, stood at the podium. Ambassador Cathax's voice boomed through the hall. "Your primitive civilization has one standard galactic day to surrender," Cathax announced. His words carried no emotion, just cold certainty. "The Eternal Empire requires your world's resources. Submit, and you may live as our servants. Resist, and face extinction." The room erupted in angry shouts and protests. Security officers struggled to maintain order. In the midst of the chaos, Admiral Sarah Chen sat quietly, her dark eyes studying the alien envoy. At 45 years old, she had risen through Earth's combined military ranks through pure tactical brilliance. Now she saw something in the Imperial ambassador that gave her hope: arrogance. "The Empire has ruled 10,000 worlds for 50,000 years," Cathax continued. "Your species has barely left its own planet. You have no chance of victory." President Martinez of the United Earth Defense Council stood up. "We request time to discuss your terms," he said carefully. The ambassador nodded once and left the chamber, his golden robes sweeping behind him. As soon as the doors closed, Admiral Chen spoke. "They don't know about Project Phoenix," she said simply. The other council members turned to her. "Our deep space sensors have been tracking their fleet movements for the past year. They think we're primitive because we've hidden our true capabilities." She activated a holographic display showing Earth's secret military assets, hidden bases on Mars and Europa, stealth shipyards in the asteroid belt, advanced AI-driven weapons platforms, and most importantly, the newly completed dreadnought HMS Thunderchild. "But we can't possibly win a war against their entire empire," General Williams protested. "They have thousands of years of advanced technology." Admiral Chen smiled. "They have old technology, stable, unchanging, perfect." She stood up and walked to the center of the room. "That's their weakness. The Empire hasn't faced a real challenge in millennia. They've stopped innovating, stopped adapting." She brought up tactical displays showing human fleet movements already in progress. "While they've been watching our civilian space program, our real forces have been preparing. The Thunderchild alone has weapons systems they've never encountered. Our Quantum A tactical systems can adapt faster than their rigid command structure." President Martinez studied the displays. "You knew this was coming," he said. "It wasn't a question. We've been preparing since we first detected their scout ships 3 years ago," Chen confirmed. "Every public failure of our space program was carefully staged, every setback designed to make us look weak." The council members exchanged looks. Hope began to replace fear in their eyes. "What are you proposing, Admiral?" Martinez asked. "We strike first," Chen said firmly. "They expect us to either surrender or launch a desperate, disorganized defense. Instead, we hit them with everything we have. Our entire hidden fleet, all at once. The Imperial forces in our system will never expect it." The council chamber grew quiet as her words sank in. Humanity's fate hung in the balance. "We have 24 hours, Chen continued. "All our forces are in position. The Empire thinks they're presenting an ultimatum. Instead, they've given us a perfect opportunity to catch them off guard." President Martinez looked around the room. One by one, the council members nodded. "Very well, Admiral," Martinez said solemnly. "You have command. Save our world." As Chen left the chamber, she allowed herself a small smile. The Empire thought humans were primitive and weak. They were about to learn just how wrong they were. Deep within the asteroid belt, hidden inside a hollowed-out space rock, Admiral Chen stood on the bridge of the HMS Thunderchild. The massive warship represented humanity's greatest achievement, and their best hope for survival. Status report, Chen commanded, her voice calm despite the weight of Earth's future on her shoulders. Commander James Rodriguez, her second in command, checked his displays. All systems ready. Admiral, the quantum drive is at full power. Shield systems are online. The AI combat system has finished its final battle simulations. Chen walked to the main viewport. The Thunderchild's sleek black hull absorbed nearly all light, making it almost invisible against the darkness of space. At 2 miles long, it was smaller than the Imperial ships, but packed with technologies the Empire had never seen. "Show me the fleet," she ordered. The main screen lit up, displaying hundreds of ships hidden throughout the asteroid belt. Each one had been built in secret over the past 3 years. While the Empire watched Earth's primitive-looking public space program, these vessels were constructed using technology that would shock their enemies. "Message from Earth Defense Command," Rodriguez announced. "The Imperial envoy has returned to their flagship. They're expecting our surrender in 3 hours." Chen smiled. "They're about to get quite a surprise. Begin Operation Phoenix." Throughout the asteroid belt, ships powered up their engines. The Thunderchild's quantum AI, nicknamed Thor, spoke through the ship's speakers. Battle calculations complete. Optimal attack vectors plotted. Enemy shields are most vulnerable to our phase-shifted plasma cannons. "The Empire thinks AI is too unpredictable for combat," Chen said to her crew. "That's why they still use slow, organic computers. Thor can analyze and adapt to their tactics in microseconds." The bridge crew worked at their stations, preparing for humanity's first major space battle. Years of secret training were about to be put to the test. "Admiral," Rodriguez called out, "you should see this." He brought up footage from the Thunderchild's special sensors. The Imperial ships were impressive, their golden hulls gleaming in the sunlight. But the sensors revealed something interesting. "Their shield geometry is fixed," Chen observed. "They're using the same defensive patterns they've probably used for thousands of years." "Thor, analyze weak points." "Analysis complete," the AI responded. "Their shields are optimized against energy weapons of their era. They have no defense against our quantum tunneling missiles or phase-shifted weapons." Chen accessed a secure channel to all fleet commanders. "This is Admiral Chen. The Empire thinks they're dealing with a primitive species that will bow down before their superior technology. They don't realize that humanity's greatest strength is our ability to innovate and adapt." She brought up a tactical display showing their battle plan. "Our ships are smaller but more agile. Our weapons are unlike anything they've faced. And most importantly, we're fighting for our freedom, while they're just following orders from a throne world thousands of light years away." The crew watched as the final countdown began. Every ship in the human fleet was in position, hidden among the asteroids, waiting for the signal. "One more thing," Chen addressed her crew. "The Empire's ships are automated. They keep their crews safe in the rear of their formations. But we've chosen to lead from the front. The Thunderchild will strike the first blow." She sat in her command chair, her expression determined. "All ships, power up weapons. Thor, begin electronic warfare measures. Today, humanity shows the galaxy that we will not surrender. We will not serve. We will fight." The mighty engines of the Thunderchild hummed to life. Throughout the asteroid belt, hundreds of other ships did the same. The Empire was about to learn that they had made a terrible mistake in threatening Earth. "All ships," Chen commanded, "prepare to attack on my mark. Fire." Admiral Chen's single word unleashed humanity's fury. The HMS Thunderchild burst from its hiding place, its quantum engines flaring blue against the darkness. Across the asteroid belt, hundreds of Earth's hidden warships emerged like angry wasps from a disturbed nest. The Imperial fleet never saw it coming. Multiple direct hits on their flagship, Commander Rodriguez reported, his voice tight with excitement. "Their shields are fluctuating exactly as Thor predicted." The Thunderchild's phase-shifted plasma cannons carved through the Imperial ship's golden shields like they weren't even there. On the main screen, Chen watched their careful plan unfold. Human vessels attacked in small, coordinated groups, using the asteroids as cover. Thor, the quantum AI, adjusted their tactics in real time. Imperial ships are launching fighters, Thor announced. Their attack patterns match historical records, countering. Swarms of Imperial fighter craft filled space, their formations perfect and unchanging. But humanity had prepared for this too. The Thunderchild's point defense systems, guided by Thor's lightning-fast calculations, picked them apart with surgical precision. "They're trying to contact us," Rodriguez said. Chen nodded. "Put them through." Ambassador Cathax's face appeared on screen, his metallic features twisted with rage and disbelief. "This is impossible. Your species cannot possess such technology." "You assumed we would be easy prey," Chen replied calmly, even as her ship shook from a glancing hit. "That was your first mistake." Another explosion lit up space as a human missile salvo caught an Imperial cruiser in a vulnerable spot. The mighty vessel cracked in half, its crew evacuating in escape pods. "All ships, protect those escape pods," Chen ordered. "We're not here for slaughter." The battle around Jupiter's orbit intensified. Imperial ships tried to form their standard defense patterns, but human vessels refused to fight the way they expected. Small, agile Earth ships darted between the Imperial formation's gaps, their weapons finding weak points that had gone unexploited for thousands of years. "Admiral," Rodriguez called out, "they're bringing in reinforcements from Mars orbit." Chen smiled. "Just as we planned." "Thor, execute Maneuver Phoenix 3. The AI didn't hesitate, calculating jump coordinates, warning all ships. In a flash of quantum energy, the Thunderchild vanished. It reappeared seconds later behind the Imperial reinforcements, catching them completely off guard. The rest of the human fleet followed, using their quantum drives to jump into perfect attack positions. "Their command structure is breaking down," Thor reported. "Imperial ships are receiving conflicting orders." Chen watched as the mighty Imperial fleet fell into chaos. Their rigid tactics, unchanged for millennia, couldn't adapt to humanity's unconventional warfare. Ships designed to fight in perfect formation found themselves isolated and surrounded. "Target their command and control systems," Chen ordered. "Let's see how well they fight without their ancient battle computers." Human electronic warfare systems, guided by AI, tore through Imperial cyber defenses. Golden ships began drifting, their crews struggling with manual controls they rarely used. "Imperial flagship is retreating," Rodriguez announced triumphantly. "The rest of their fleet is following." The bridge crew cheered, but Chen raised her hand for silence. "Don't celebrate yet. This was just their local force. The Empire will send more ships once they realize what happened." She stood from her command chair, watching the Imperial fleet flee toward the outer solar system. "But today, we've proven something important. They can be beaten. Their technology isn't invincible. Their tactics aren't perfect." The Thunderchild's sensors showed the aftermath of humanity's first space battle. Disabled Imperial ships drifted among the asteroids. Human rescue vessels moved to assist the evacuating crews. "Send word to Earth," Chen ordered. Tell them that Operation Phoenix was a success, and tell them to prepare. The real war is just beginning." 3 days after humanity's first victory, the Empire's response arrived. Thousands of warships tore through space near Saturn, their golden hulls blocking out the stars. This was no local fleet. This was the Empire's main battle force. Admiral Chen stood on the Thunderchild's bridge, watching the tactical display with narrow eyes. "They brought their planet-killer weapons," she noted quietly. The massive Imperial dreadnoughts carried weapons capable of destroying entire worlds. "Multiple hostile contacts approaching Mars colony," Thor reported. "Their energy readings are off the charts." Chen's hands tightened on the command rail. This was the moment she had feared. The Empire was done playing games. They meant to make an example of Earth. "All civilians have been evacuated to the underground shelters," Commander Rodriguez reported. Mars' defense grid is online. The battle began with a blinding flash as Imperial ships opened fire. Their energy weapons turned chunks of the asteroid belt into vapor, but humanity had prepared for this too. Execute Operation Scattered Thunder, Chen ordered. Human ships disappeared into quantum jumps, only to reappear inside the Imperial formation. The massive enemy fleet, designed to fight in organized battles, struggled to target the smaller, faster Earth vessels that struck from multiple directions. "We've lost the Santiago," Rodriguez announced grimly. "The Moscow and Beijing are heavily damaged." Chen nodded solemnly. They had known there would be losses. The Empire's superior numbers were taking their toll. But humanity wasn't fighting alone anymore. "Thor, activate all autonomous defense platforms," she commanded. Throughout the solar system, hidden weapons platforms came to life. Hundreds of AI-controlled satellites and stealth platforms revealed themselves, launching quantum tunneling missiles at the Imperial ships. The Empire's rigid tactics had no answer for attacks coming from every direction at once. "They're pushing toward Earth," Rodriguez warned. "Their planet killers are charging weapons." "Not today," Chen growled. "All ships implement Maneuver Hydra." The human fleet split into smaller groups, each one harassing a different section of the Imperial formation. The Thunderchild led a daring attack run directly at the nearest planet killer, its advanced shields training against the enormous energy weapons. "Hull breach on Deck 7. Someone shouted. The mighty ship shuddered as Imperial weapons found their mark. But Chen had counted on their aggression. As the Empire's largest ships focused on the Thunderchild, the rest of the human fleet struck from behind. AI-guided weapons found weak points in the Imperial shields, disabling 2 planet killers before they could fire. "Admiral," Thor's calm voice cut through the chaos. "I've detected a pattern in their shield modulation, transmitting data to all ships." Chen smiled grimly. Even in the middle of battle, humanity's AI was learning and adapting. The Empire's supposedly superior technology was being analyzed and countered in real time. The battle raged across the solar system. Mars colony's defense grid held firm, its weapons blazing defiantly at the Imperial ships. The asteroid belt became a graveyard of broken vessels from both sides. "Status report," Chen demanded, steadying herself as another hit rocked the ship. "We've lost 30% of the fleet," Rodriguez answered. "But they've lost more. Their formation is breaking up." The tactical display showed the truth of his words. The mighty Imperial Armada was scattered, its perfect formation shattered by humanity's unconventional tactics. Their remaining planet killers were retreating, unable to lock onto targets among the chaos. "They're not used to losing," Chen observed. "Their crews have never faced real defeat before. Push them harder." The human fleet pressed their advantage, Thor coordinating their attacks with inhuman precision. One by one, Imperial ships began to withdraw, their golden hulls scarred and blackened. But as Chen watched them retreat, she knew this was just the beginning. The Empire would be back, with even more ships. This time, though, humanity would be ready. They had proven they could stand against the greatest force in the galaxy and survive. "Begin rescue operations," she ordered. "And get me Earth Command. We need to prepare for the next wave." In the depths of Europa's underground research base, Admiral Chen stared at the holographic display in disbelief. "Show me again," she ordered. Dr. Emily Zhang, Earth's leading expert on Imperial technology, nodded and replayed the battle footage. "Watch their shields during our quantum attacks. There's a pattern we missed before." The image showed an Imperial dreadnought's shields flickering for a fraction of a second. Thor, the quantum AI, had been analyzing thousands of such recordings from their battles. Their entire shield system runs on a base 12 mathematical sequence, Dr. Zhang explained. "It's been perfect for thousands of years against normal weapons, but our quantum attacks create a momentary phase shift that exposes a fundamental flaw in their shield design." Chen finished, her eyes widening. "Thor, confirm this analysis." Confirmed, the AI responded. Dr. Zhang's discovery matches my calculations. The Empire's shield technology has not evolved because they believed it was perfect. They never anticipated quantum-based weapons. Commander Rodriguez burst into the room. Admiral, long-range sensors detect a massive Imperial fleet approaching, bigger than anything we've seen before. Chen smiled. For the first time since the war began, it wasn't a worried smile. How long until they arrive? 6 hours. They're bringing 3 times as many planet killers this time. Perfect. Chen turned to Dr. Zhang. How quickly can we modify our weapons to exploit this weakness? Thor can recalibrate our entire fleet's weapons in 2 hours. But Admiral, Zhang hesitated, we'll only get one chance. Once they realize their shields have this weakness, they'll adapt. Chen nodded and opened a channel to all Earth forces. This is Admiral Chen. In 6 hours, the Empire will launch what they think is their final attack. They believe their superior numbers will overwhelm us. They're wrong. She brought up tactical displays showing her plan. Operation Thunderstrike is now in effect. All ships will gather near Saturn's rings. The debris will help mask our energy signatures until the last moment. The next few hours were a blur of activity. Ships moved into position. Weapons were modified. Thor ran countless simulations, perfecting the timing they would need. Admiral, Rodriguez called out, the Imperial fleet has entered the solar system. 5,000 ships. They're moving straight for Earth. Chen took her place on the Thunderchild's bridge. The massive Imperial Armada filled the view screen, their golden hulls reflecting Saturn's light. They were advancing in their standard formation, supremely confident in their shields. All ships, maintain position, Chen ordered. Wait for my signal. The Imperial fleet drew closer. Their planet killers moved to the front, preparing to annihilate Earth's forces. They're charging weapons, Rodriguez reported tensely. Not yet, Chen said calmly. Let them get closer. The Empire's ships entered the optimal range. Their front line began to fire, massive energy beams lighting up space. Now, Chen commanded, execute Thunderstrike. The entire human fleet fired simultaneously. Their modified quantum weapons struck the Imperial shields at precisely calculated points. For a split second, nothing seemed to happen. Then the impossible occurred. The mighty Imperial shields flickered and failed, not just on one ship, but across their entire front line. The Empire had standardized their perfect shield design across their whole fleet, and now that perfection became their downfall. All ships pressed the attack. Chen ordered, focus fire on their command ships. The battle that followed was unlike anything in human history. Imperial ships, suddenly vulnerable, found themselves under attack from weapons they couldn't defend against. Their rigid tactics fell apart as they faced an enemy that could penetrate their supposedly impenetrable shields. They're retreating, Rodriguez announced triumphantly. Their whole fleet is breaking formation. Chen watched as the mighty Imperial Armada turned and fled, leaving their damaged ships behind. Earth had won its greatest victory yet. Send word to Earth, she ordered. Tell them the Empire isn't invincible anymore. The tide has turned. The war room beneath Geneva hummed with activity as Admiral Chen presented humanity's boldest plan yet. 6 months after discovering the Imperial shield weakness, Earth was ready to take the fight to the enemy's home systems. Operation Spearhead begins today, Chen announced to the assembled fleet commanders. The holographic display showed their target, the Empire's core worlds. For the first time in 50,000 years, someone is going to attack their home territory. The Thunderchild, now joined by 5 newly built dreadnoughts, would lead the assault. Earth's shipyards had worked around the clock, incorporating every lesson learned from their previous battles. Their arrogance is their weakness, Chen continued. They never built defensive systems around their core worlds because no one has ever reached them. Thor, show them our attack vectors. The AI displayed multiple approach routes through Imperial space. The Empire has withdrawn 80% of their forces to protect their throne world, Thor reported. But they still don't understand how we operate. Commander Rodriguez stepped forward. All ships have been upgraded with the new quantum strike systems. The entire fleet can now exploit their shield weakness. The assembled commanders watched as Chen laid out the battle plan. The human fleet would split into 3 groups, striking simultaneously at different Imperial strongholds. The Empire would have to divide their forces to respond. Remember, Chen said firmly, we're not fighting for conquest. We're fighting to end their tyranny. Any world that surrenders is to be treated with respect. Hours later, the largest human fleet ever assembled prepared to depart. 1,000 ships, ranging from fast attack cruisers to the mighty new dreadnoughts, gathered near Pluto's orbit. All ships report ready, Rodriguez announced on the Thunderchild's bridge. Quantum drives charge. Chen took a deep breath. Everything they had fought for came down to this moment. Begin Operation Spearhead. All ships, jump. Space itself seemed to bend as the entire fleet engaged their quantum drives simultaneously. When they emerged, they found themselves deep in Imperial territory. The response was immediate. Imperial defense stations opened fire, their golden energy beams slicing through space. But humanity had learned from every battle. The human fleet split apart, moving in unpredictable patterns that confused the Empire's targeting systems. First target in range, Thor reported. Imperial shipyards detected. All ships, concentrate fire. Chen ordered. Show them why you don't threaten Earth. The battle erupted across 3 star systems simultaneously. Human vessels, guided by their quantum airs, struck with surgical precision at Imperial infrastructure. Shipyards, defense stations, and command centers fell one after another. Imperial fleet detected. Rodriguez called out. They're trying to trap us between their forces. But Chen had anticipated this. Execute maneuver storm break. The human fleet's formation transformed, shifting from attack patterns into a defensive sphere. As Imperial ships arrived from multiple directions, they found themselves unable to concentrate their fire effectively. Their commanders are arguing over tactical priority, Thor reported, monitoring Imperial communications. Their rigid command structure is breaking down. The space around the Imperial core worlds became a graveyard of golden ships. The Empire's forces, trained to fight in perfect formation, couldn't adapt to humanity's fluid tactics. Ship after ship fell to precisely targeted quantum strikes. Multiple Imperial worlds are signaling their surrender, Rodriguez announced. Their orbital defenses are powering down. Chen nodded grimly. Accept their surrender. Prepare boarding teams to secure their facilities. She turned to face her crew. But our main target hasn't surrendered yet. The throne world is still ahead. The Thunderchild's main screen showed their final objective. A massive artificial world that served as the Empire's capital. It was surrounded by their remaining ships, gathered for a last desperate defense. All ships, form up, Chen ordered. The Empire ends today. The Imperial throne world loomed before them, a massive artificial planet that had ruled the galaxy for 50,000 years. Its surface was covered in golden cities and massive defense installations. The remains of the Empire's once mighty fleet formed a protective barrier around it. This is Admiral Sarah Chen of Earth. She broadcast on all frequencies. Your empire is finished. Surrender now, and we will show mercy. The response came from Emperor Xanthor himself, his ancient voice filled with rage. We have ruled the stars since before your species learned to make fire. We will never surrender to primitives. As you wish. Chen turned to her crew. All ships, battle positions. Thor, begin final attack calculations. The Thunderchild led the charge, its quantum drives flaring as it dodged massive energy beams from the throne world's surface. Behind it, the combined fleet of Earth moved in perfect coordination, their AIs working together like a single mind. Multiple hostile launches, Rodriguez reported. They're sending everything they have. The space around the throne world erupted in the largest battle of the war. Imperial ships fought with desperate fury, their golden hulls blazing with weapon fire. But humanity had evolved beyond them. "Execute final protocol," Chen ordered. Thor transmitted the commands instantly to every ship in the fleet. The human fleet split into smaller groups, each one targeting a specific section of the Imperial defenses. The Thunderchild and its sister dreadnoughts engaged the main Imperial fleet, while faster ships slipped through gaps in their formation. Direct hit on their main shield generator. Rodriguez called out as a precisely targeted quantum strike found its mark. The throne world's protective barrier flickered and began to fail. Emperor Xanthor's voice boomed across all channels again. You dare to strike at the heart of civilization itself. Your civilization is built on tyranny," Chen responded calmly, even as her ship shook from enemy fire. "It's time for a change." The battle reached its climax as human ships broke through the final defensive line. The throne world's surface weapons blazed desperately, but they couldn't stop the inevitable. One by one, the defense installations fell silent. "Admiral," Thor announced, "I'm detecting mass surrenders across the Imperial fleet. Their command structure has completely collapsed." Chen watched as the mighty Empire's final defense crumbled. Golden ships powered down their weapons or fooled into deep space. The throne world stood exposed. "My ancestors built this empire," Fan Thor raged. "We brought order to chaos. And now we bring freedom to tyranny," Chen replied. "Security teams, prepare for boarding. Thor, transmit surrender terms to all Imperial worlds." The next few hours passed in a blur of activity. Earth Marines secured the throne world's key facilities. The Emperor was taken into custody, his ancient dynasty ending not with a bang, but with a whimper. Standing in the Imperial throne room, Admiral Chen looked out over the Golden City. Commander Rodriguez approached with a report. "Status?" she asked. "Most Imperial worlds have accepted our terms," he answered. "The few holdouts are being contained. Earth is already organizing a conference to establish a new galactic council, one where all species have equal representation." Chen nodded, thinking of how far humanity had come. From a single world threatened with extinction to the force that liberated the galaxy. "What about the Thunderchild?" she asked. Rodriguez smiled. "Ready for your inspection. The crew's already talking about our next mission, exploring the unknown regions beyond Imperial space." Chen turned away from the view of the conquered city. "Then let's not keep them waiting. The galaxy's a lot bigger than the Empire led everyone to believe. It's time for humanity to show everyone a better way." As she walked through the ancient halls of power, Chen thought about the future. The Empire had ruled through fear and rigid control. Earth would lead through freedom and innovation. A new age was beginning. Humanity had not just survived. They had changed the galaxy forever.